What a year it's been for clean energy. 2025 brought us some wins and some challenging setbacks. We saw electricity bills hit all-time highs, the federal solar tax credit expire, and major policy shifts that left a lot of people wondering, is clean energy doomed? Well, I bring you good tidings. It's not. And I'm optimistic for the future. But in this special episode, we're looking back on the first year of Plugged In and the biggest clean energy stories that we've shared. The good, the bad, and everything in between. As a nation, we started 2025 off with a big change, a new president. And we kicked Plugged In off with our very first episode highlighting how clean energy benefits everyone. A message I proudly shared from a couch in the middle of an office. It actually doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat, or anywhere in between, not when it comes to solar energy. In January, an executive order put a 90-day freeze on funding for the Inflation Reduction Act, putting many clean energy incentives in limbo. Now, there was bipartisan support for residential solar, so we held out hope that it wouldn't come under attack. But then, in May, a new proposed House bill would, among other measures, eliminate the 30% residential solar investment tax credit, or ITC.
Eliminate entire incentive and public policy initiatives overnight or on, in very short timeframes, I think is harmful to families, communities, businesses, and the American energy ecosystem.
That's why at Energy Sage, we fought like heck to try to save the ITC from this early expiration.
We went to DC twice to advocate for the residential solar tax credit, and we were joined by others in the industry advocating for the same thing. Unfortunately, we did end up losing that battle. It was cut.
Yep. By mid-year, Congress passed the big, beautiful bill eliminating the ITC a decade early.
I'm bummed. You're a bummer. That's a bummer.
A tiny bright side here, the new deadline encouraged thousands of Americans to go solar this year, myself included. Truthfully, I tried to do it sooner, but
It took a long time, but that's partly because it was my dad's fault.
In September, my panels went up, and it was easily a highlight of my year.
I should have this entire system paid off in less than 5 years, which is really exciting.
But with the ITC expiration looming, people started thinking, solar's dead! But I knew in my heart that solar wasn't dead. And after speaking to industry experts and environmental activists, I learned that many others are optimistic about its future.
This still just makes bottom line sense in all kinds of ways, including not a small thing that you're helping prevent the destruction of the planet that we happen to live on.
Not to mention that solar is still the answer to a major problem that became super apparent this year.
We're getting to the point where electricity is becoming unaffordable.
The average price of electricity in the US hit a new record high in March 2025, up 35% from 5 years ago. Nearly 80 million Americans are struggling to pay their utility bills, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but prices are expected to go up. We learned it's not the cost of generating electricity that's killing us, it's the utilities' delivery charges. They claim that rate hikes are necessary to upgrade our infrastructure. The problem is, much of our power grid was built back in the 60s and 70s, back when people had one TV, no computers or internet, and only 12% of homes had air conditioning. And now, the population has more than doubled, and we're using a lot more electricity, not to mention power-hungry AI data centers, which, spoiler alert, we will be talking about next year. Now, while home electrification is great, our outdated grid is struggling to keep up with modern needs. But there's something else going on.
Utility spending has been out of control for years and years and years.
And now, while millions of Americans are unable to pay their monthly bills, a recent report shows the CEOs of the largest publicly owned utilities are earning more than ever. We're talking between $17 and $33 million a year. Yet many investor-owned utilities aren't working toward a solution to make your electricity affordable. Instead, they're blaming your neighbors with solar panels for your absurd electric bills, to which I say,
Oh, honky!
Yeah, that. Now, research shows that homes with solar are not increasing everyone's electric bills. It's quite the opposite. But some investor-owned utilities want us to think that because it threatens their bottom line when we generate our own power. And that's another thing we learned in 2025. The future of affordable energy is local energy. Solar panels, small wind turbines, generators, each of these things producing electricity close to where the electricity is used. These smaller energy sources form what's called a microgrid. It's local, efficient, and it can help reduce the pressure on the big grid by supplying reliable power in more places. Aside from cheaper electricity, microgrids add protection from blackouts.
Through this whole storm, we never lost power.
We lost power. I didn't even know it.
2025 saw record-breaking severe weather, wildfires, blizzards, heat waves, tornadoes, and flooding, making conversations about energy resilience all the more critical. So what exactly is energy resilience? Simply put, it's the ability to keep your power on when the grid goes down. We saw it in a solar-powered town, YouTuber Matt Farrell's net zero home, and dozens of everyday homeowners with simple solar plus battery setups. Thousands of Americans installed solar and storage systems in 2025, understanding that it's not just about lowering your carbon footprint, and
it's not just about the finances, it's also about energy security. I keep hammering home on that because it's hard to put a price on that.
Moving on to another big headline of 2025. Another day, another big solar company teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. Major residential solar provider Sunnova filed for bankruptcy in June, as did solar lending giant Mosaic. We learned that many big solar companies unraveled because they had unsustainable business models. But many small and mid-sized installers thrived in 2025.
I've seen a pretty big growth. Every year it's been, a step up, step up, step up.
And American-made solar boomed. In just 8 years, America rocketed from 14th place to 3rd place globally in solar manufacturing capacity. We now produce enough solar technology to meet nearly all domestic demand, with manufacturing facilities in 41 states and more on the way. Now let's change lanes over to electric vehicles. 2025 was kind of a mixed bag for EVs. The federal EV tax credit got axed in September, which doesn't help this fact. We are way behind other countries when it comes to ditching gas vehicles. I spoke with EV experts and learned that most EV concerns are either outdated or the result of clever marketing.
I hate saying it, but it just strikes me as like propaganda by Chevron or Shell or the petroleum industry.
The stigma against EVs is real, and the media showing them in a negative light doesn't help.
Did you see that movie, Christina? This is why I don't want to buy an electric vehicle.
Now, there are legitimate EV roadblocks, like lack of reliable public charging, but improvements are being made as we speak.
In 2025, we have more chargers that have been installed, high-speed public chargers than ever before, and in 2026 we'll have even more than 2025.
Turns out a lot of you love talking about electric vehicles. Now personally, I love talking about all things home electrification, especially when I learned just how toxic our everyday appliances can be. When we cook with a gas stove, traces of carbon monoxide, methane, benzene, and nitrogen dioxide, or NO2, are sent into the air. Inhaling these toxins at high levels has been linked to various breathing issues. Despite these concerning facts, it seems we still have a lot of work to do to convince some of you to part with your gas stoves. Trust me, my mother's Italian. She swears by the gas stove. Big Gas is also quite the expert marketer. 60% of Americans still use natural gas to cook, heat, and dry clothes in 2025, which is why we raved about improved technology like induction stoves and heat pumps that make ditching these toxic appliances easier than ever. Beyond cleaner air, heat pumps mean a smaller carbon footprint and potentially lower energy bills because they are up to 4 times more efficient than a gas furnace. The clean energy transition is not some distant future. It's happening right now. Don't believe me? Well, remember when we called out Hollywood for hating clean energy? There's hardly any organic mention of clean energy or sustainability in mainstream movies or TV shows, even though it's becoming more popular in real life. And when it is mentioned on screen, it's typically painted in a negative light. It was inspired by that viral scene from the hit TV show Landman that told a lot of lies about wind energy that many viewers took as truth.
Billy Bob Thornton explaining to a young woman how dumb all of these climate activists are when they push things like wind turbines.
And so that's the problem with that kind of misinformation, is it's almost more pervasive because you know it's not true, but it's real enough to make you think it is.
Well, a holiday present to us, it seems someone was listening. Netflix's new movie, Merry Little Xmas, features solar panels, heat pumps, and EVs. And, not to spoil it, but a solar energy system even saves the day. I mean, it's a start, right? Home electrification on screen, not villainous, not preachy, just normal.
Oh, it's a Christmas miracle.
Overall, 2025 taught us that clean energy is more than just an environmental issue. It's about saving money, creating jobs, taking control of our power, and yes, improving our health. Now, did we face setbacks? Absolutely. But we also saw innovation, resilience, and Americans refusing to give up on a cleaner, more independent energy future. I want to leave you with something that climate activist Bill McKibben just told me.
People have an innate affection for the sun. It already gives us light and warmth, and via photosynthesis, our supper. And now it's willing to give us all the power we could ever want. So it would be a sin to waste all that.
As we head into the new year, the question isn't whether clean energy will survive. It's how it will grow and change and whether you will be a part of it. Now that's all from us this year. A huge thanks to every expert who shared their insights with us on Plugged In, and thank you for watching and being part of our very first year. Your gift to us? I thought you'd never ask. Share your favorite episode with your family and friends, and hit subscribe because 2026 is going to be even more electrifying. So stay plugged in.